welcome to Historia.
I'm Jamie.
I'm Kylie.
And we are welcoming you today to Christmas time.
Yes, it's Christmas season.
I know, my nails are really showing it.
Oh, I like it.
It's a little... I had some Christmas ones, but then the thumb fell off yesterday, so I was like, oh.
So what do you got on those? Just
There's
like...
snowflakes.
Snowflakes, yeah.
Little gems. Freaking Walgreens slaps with their, like, holiday nails this year. Ooh.
We love the Walgreens.
Oh, yeah.
We love Walgreens.
I rely on them heavily.
Yes, me too. Yeah, I hope you all are doing well this holiday season.
I hope you're getting lots of snow because we are not.
No, it snowed for like 10 minutes yesterday.
I know, it wasn't even real snow.
Yeah.
It was like flurries.
Yeah, it was lame.
But supposedly the mountains are getting hit pretty hard, so for all those skiers out there in Colorado, you're lucky.
Yeah. Yeah, we haven't, it's weird because it was like blizzarding in Hawaii, and then like here in Colorado, there's been nothing, so.
Did you hear about the tornadoes in Kentucky too?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The world is crazy. I think all the states are just like, I don't know.
Global warming is a real thing.
Yeah,
and this
definitely.
is proving it.
Yep.
So
it's all the proof you need.
I said.
Yeah. How have you been, Jamie?
I've been pretty good. A little long week, for sure. I was the only one in my office, like, in my section yesterday. Mm-hmm. Me and one other guy. Everybody else was, like, either out sick or they're just off. And I was like, everybody's getting sick right now. So I've been, like, popping vitamins just to, like, make sure. Because when I get sick, I get this really bad cough that lasts for, like, a month and a half.
That's what I'm going through right now.
It's the worst.
Yeah. I had a throat infection, like, the week before I went to New York. I got a throat infection.
Yeah.
And then I, like, lost my voice completely. And then I, like, had to go to the dentist because my tooth was hurting. So while I didn't have a voice, I had to go to the dentist. And then they're like, you need a root canal. So then I get back from New York. The day after I get back from New York, I get a root canal. And then I, like, am starting to get over my sickness. And then, like, the next day I get a cold. And then I just got a crown on my root canal.
Have you been drinking orange juice?
Yes. I've been doing everything. But I work with children, and it's kind of hard to avoid.
Yeah.
I usually don't get sick till, like, January, but it came a little early this year. So
children are disgusting.
Yes, and a lot of them just, their parents will send them to school if they're sick. So
I don't get that. I'm like, why would you do that?
Right. So I'm getting over it, though, like, and now my fiance has it, so sorry. But
it's all the dang children getting you sick.
Yeah. But if I'm sick now, maybe I'll be good for, like, the next few months. Hopefully.
On the topic of children today. Good segue.
There we go.
We are going to be talking about, for the next couple weeks, some urban legends.
Yes.
These are all, I'm sure you may have heard a couple of them.
Yeah.
Well, I'm only doing one because I found so much research on that. But the one that you're going to be doing next week, the others, I'm sure that you know.
I'll be doing a couple, that are really famous, popular.
But it's crazy, though, how these, like, urban legends, granted, it's Christmas time. I love the feel good. I'm one for Hallmark. But this was how people celebrated Christmas time, was through these scary urban legends. If you were bad, you were going to be punished.
Right.
And so it's not all about Saint Nick. You have to beware of the others.
Yeah.
Because they are fucking terrifying.
Imagine that as a child. Like, now children are like, oh my goodness, I can't wait for Santa to come. But, like, back then it was like, oh my God, they're coming for us.
I know. It's exactly like that. They're like, okay, what do we do? How do we prevent it? How do we be good? What do we do? And it's terrifying. And, oh God, the one that I am speaking of today, it does not matter who you are.
Yeah.
She's coming for you.
Dun, 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 dun.
Dun, dun, dun. Yes, I am doing a female urban legend.
Ooh.
Yeah. I was like, really? Because I am, the one that I'm covering today.
Yeah.
Her name is Frau Perchta.
Okay.
I've never heard of her before this.
I've never heard of her either.
No, but she's like BFFs with Krampus.
Really?
Yeah. So, because in the book that I got, so today I got my information. This book is amazing. If you want to, like, scare your children of all these urban legends, this is a book to get. It's Frau Perchta, the Christmas Belly Slitter, A Concise History of the Legend by Edmund Brecken. This is wild. I was like, as soon as I saw Belly Slitter, I was like,
Yeah.
Hold up. That sounds like some emo rock band.
It does. It really does. That's hilarious.
But she is very interesting. So let's dive on into her because, my God. So, Perchta derived from Germanic and Austrian folklore. Perchta, also known as the belly slitter, is a Christmas character teaching children to behave, but also a terrifying entity of the world. So she does more than just like appear as just like you're bad. Like she is like she's teaching you to behave. Life. Yeah, she will ruin your life, but she's a terrifying entity. Mm-hmm. So introducing Perchta, it should be known that she is associated to the similar counterpart of Krampus. So a lot of like the brief other like research that I did is that she kind of like hung out with Krampus in some areas. But the crazy thing about her is that there's so many different interpretations because you have her legend in so many different regions, which I'll kind of dive into a little bit later. But with that, like every single urban legend is going to have its own folklore.
Oh, definitely.
It's never going to be the same. And everything, what you should know about urban legends is that a lot of them are just word of mouth.
Yeah.
It's not so much of just like everything is written down, because a lot of times it wasn't until like around Christianity. That's when everything was being written down. But beforehand, everything was word of mouth.
Right.
So I guess that's one thing Christianity did do, was start writing things down.
Yeah.
So we know that Perchta is like BFFs with Krampus, but her disciplining technique is different from what a lot of people are known to do, or what these urban legends do.
Yeah.
The legend of Perchta changes between regions and villages, but I will discuss probably just the basics of all of them, just because there's so much to it. Because I'm sure if you go to Austria, they're going to tell you one way. You go to Germany, they're going to tell you a different one. This is just what I found in this book, so this is just an overall view. Now, she not only punishes the bad, but she also rewards the good. You don't see that a lot in these urban legends.
Yeah, no.
A lot of them, because they're like the opposite of Santa Claus.
Right.
So they do the punishing, not the rewarding.
Yeah.
But she does both.
Okay.
So it's like she takes on a whole new role then. She's kind of both in that sense of just like kind of Santa, kind of Krampus.
Yeah.
She's like that middle ground. It's like, I will do what I want because I'm a badass bitch. No, for the good, she will give you good fortune. With the bad, she punishes the lazy, dishonest, the greedy royals. That's all I thought of. I was like, okay, royals are pretty lazy, greedy, dishonest, greedy. So I'm like, man, those royals must have really got punished. I'm like, you see a lot of them dying very suddenly. Like, that could just be Perchta coming up.
True that.
You never know. With her, it's quite terrifying because she does 12 days, not just one. And it's not just children. It's also adults. And that's why I bring up like the royals, because it's not just like children. I'm like, maybe that's how Peter went. We don't know. Yeah. Maybe it wasn't anything what happened to him, but who knows? It depends on like when they die, around like January, late December. Yeah. It's Perchta.
Makes sense.
Now, let's get into the legend of Frau Perchta. I like that name.
Frau.
It starts with she is a deity, from what we know. So she is part of the pagan side before Christianity. So she was before even Christianity. She is a pagan deity. So if you don't really know what paganism is, it's like the multiple gods that people would worship in like Rome, Greece, any other culture before like Christianity, Catholicism, stuff like that. Yeah. And this becomes really important when Christianity starts to influence her legend. But for right now, in this beginning legend, she is just a goddess. Quotes. A goddess, quote unquote. Quotes. Kind of, not really. She was born with a deep connection to nature, mostly to winter, and that's why we see her come out around Christmas time, January, because that's like the prime time of winter.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Here, not so much across the pond.
Yeah. In like normal places.
I know. I see all these other countries having so much snow, and then I'm like, well.
we get hit in like February, March.
Yeah. Well, we are technically a desert.
Yeah.
So, sort of. I don't know. We're weird.
Oh. We're not normal.
We're not normal. She has the ability to have this immortal form, so she can shapeshift. She holds this immortal look, like she lives forever pretty much. So that just knows that she's high above the standard of just like a terrifying urban legend.
Yeah, she's threatening. She's like, I'm not going anywhere.
No, she is absolutely terrifying. She sees, for her, punishing the good and bad, she sees this as moral education. Mm-hmm. And her connection with nature helps her represent this moral education, even though it's like, what you're doing is just a little bit immoral. Depending on how you look at society.
Right.
In her 12 days of reward and punishment, Perchta is often accompanied with followers as well. This is fucking terrifying. I cannot imagine.
People that just go with her, or like people who are like fans of her?
So, yes.
Okay.
Yes. Well, some people, like in history, as I'll kind of touch on, is that a lot of people will, like during the witch trials, there were some like accused who were like, I'm a follower of her.
Yeah.
And that's honestly absolutely terrifying because they only think of the bad.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Her followers can be ghosts of children, animals, or other mischief entities, which I will touch on. But the ghosts of children normally are the ones who are not baptized. So any children that is not baptized, like a lot of infants or like 1 to 2 years old that aren't baptized, she'll take. Ooh. So that kind of pushes people to baptize their children as soon as possible so they don't go with Perchta.
Like the second it's born, they're like, please take it.
Pretty much.
Baptize it.
I think I was like maybe 3 when I was baptized.
Yeah. I don't know. I think I was young. I don't remember.
I didn't know. No, you only really had godparents if you were baptized.
Really?
I think that's like the official way.
Really? What? I don't know.
I don't follow religion. I don't know.
I'm just confused. I don't get it. I don't know. It's a whole thing. Okay.
Her and her followers are often heard rather than seen. Which is...
What?
Yeah.
Excuse me?
Yes.
Ew.
So, and when they're going through town, you really oftentimes don't see them. You hear them, which is honestly a little bit more terrifying.
Like?
So, they are a lot of times screeching, screaming, making really loud noises. I'm going to touch on this briefly, but just imagine that you're in your home waiting for her. You just hear them. It's absolutely terrifying. I can't imagine.
How have they not made a movie about this yet?
They may have made like an independent film. I'm not sure.
I hope they did. And I hope it's really bad. I want to watch it.
It's like Krampus. We have to talk about that next week.
Yeah. Oh, that's funny.
And this isn't just for one day. It's for 12. Because she goes across the world or Europe. Anyone who like really worship her or knows of her legend, she goes around for 12 days. So you don't know when she's going to show up at your house. And so you have to prepare these 12 days for her arrival because...
But that's more realistic than Santa Claus going everywhere in one night.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like as a kid, I'd believe that more than, like, Santa will be here anytime tonight. I'm like, he has to go around the world. Like, that never made sense to me.
Oh, yeah, because they have a little tracker.
Yeah, I know. And I would go on... One time I went on it, and it was like, it already passed Colorado. And I was like, what? I, like, went to the tree, and I was like, oh! So you can't always believe Santa tracker.
I love that. So through the 12 days, she's going into homes, punishing those or rewarding those. But the 12th night is her most, like, active one. Like, that's when she's doing the real shit. Like, she's going at it. And this is where her festival, her feast that people do for, like, the worshiping of her. Do it. So this is around January 6th.
Okay.
And her festival is not just in fear. A lot of people who are good in the world and get rewarded by her, they see this as, oh, here is my offering to you because I respect what you provide for my family. Because a lot of people don't see her dual nature. They only think of the bad because that's what people will know, that's how they will make their children behave more.
Yeah. Is
through the terrifying aspects and not the rewarding. Which is really sad, but, like, honestly, I can kind of see that because I would be more terrified to get my belly slit open than getting a gold piece.
These kids are going to have trauma for the rest of their life.
They all do because they're in war, plague. Like, there was trauma going around everywhere, but they somehow figured it out.
I just love it. They were like, let's just scare the hell out of them.
That's what they do. It's terrifying.
And they, like, thought it was amusing. Like, they thought it was funny.
Going into these homes, Perchta knows immediately who's been good and who's been bad. Like, she just, like, sees them, you've been good.
She's got her spidey sense.
You'd be bad. Like, yeah, she does. She's a deity. She knows this stuff. She's above everybody. She knows.
You can't fool her.
No. To the good, she would give them a silver coin, and they would find it in their shoe the following day. Which is, like, a silver coin... Or I guess depending on, like, if you're being super helpful to her, which in a story I'm going to read later, you can get a gold piece if you help her out. Or if you've just been good, you'll get a silver piece, which honestly, in that time, you're going to need that because everybody's poor. So,
yeah,
providing those big meals, I'm surprised anybody could do that because... when you're poor, you can't provide food. Like, it's impossible.
Right.
But they still managed to make it work because they didn't want to get friggin' tortured to death. Like, that's not cool. To the bad, well, good luck to them. She does more than slit their bellies.
Oh, God.
Believe it or not. It is terrifying. To those who were bad, Perchta would use her knife to slide open the person's belly while they slept, removed their insides, replacing them with dirt, pebbles, dust, or straws. And if she was feeling real petty, she would sew up their bellies so they're dead. People would come in the morning being like, oh no, this person died, not really knowing, oh, it was Perchta. They're just like, oh my God, he died. But then when they see the belly, they're like, oh shit, like their insides are completely made of dust.
Jesus.
Savage.
They're still alive?
No.
Oh, so you just die.
You die.
Wow.
If you're bad, you will die.
My God.
Her wrath continues with other punishments. She could curse you for being inquisitive with blindness for a year. That's the second story I'm going to cover. Yeah. So you could be blind for a year, and then in that following year, you would have to do whatever it took to please her so you could get your eyesight back. So she can curse you.
My God.
Yeah. She could also grant bad luck to a single person or an entire village. So if a village was being a bunch of bitches and being greedy, just dishonest, just being terrible, she would grant bad luck and everything bad would happen for that year. Ghost town.
Jesus.
Yeah. I'm sure that's what happened in all of the mining towns.
Yeah, but now we know who to blame.
No, I'm sorry.
No, never mind. Sorry. Please forgive me.
She would even crush children to death.
Oh, okay. Casual.
I'm going to explain how she does this later. It is weird. It's very interesting. I gotta give her props for that.
What does she look like? Is she just a...
There's two different ways that there's many ways that she can appear. And I'll talk briefly on that. But
I just didn't know if you already mentioned it and I missed it.
No, I have all my different sections.
Okay, we'll get there. We'll get there. I'm just trying to picture all of this.
Yes.
I'm like, I don't know. Is this just like a woman?
Yeah, she's just a random woman. Demon. Kind of.
Is she like part animal? We'll find out.
So we know of the belly slitting, but okay, so I've already talked about her sewing up. Sorry. I don't know why I put that there. My notes, I was just like, let's go.
Sew it up.
Honestly. So let's talk about her acts of generosity now.
Oh, okay. Because she's such a wonderful woman.
Mm-hmm. Unlike similar entities, there is a generous side of Perchta, believe it or not. As I briefly talked about her giving silver to those, she would also provide the gold. And her dual nature, she can do good.
Mm-hmm.
She can help as much as she can discipline and punish. It's just how if you're going to be good, if you're going to be bad. Giving people money is probably the most like generosity you can do at the time. Because if you're living in France, bless you.
It didn't come out.
Okay.
I thought I was going to sneeze. It just didn't happen. If you're living in France.
Yeah, if you're living in France around like the 1700s, you know the revolution.
Yeah.
So getting like a silver coin or a gold coin, like that's going to help you a lot because everybody was starving.
Right.
And that's why Marie Antoinette lost her head.
Ah. Love that for her.
She did not say let them eat cake.
We need to talk about her too.
Oh.
That was a sound. That was a straw.
I hope I didn't scare you.
It was beer. What's her name? I keep forgetting her name.
Who?
This girl.
Oh. Perchta.
It was Perchta. It was her followers. Oh God! This is why we can't record in the morning.
This is when now I'm going to talk about when she comes.
Uh-oh.
So you better watch out. You better not cry.
You better watch out.
The arrival of Perchta comes during what they call as the wild hunt. Emerging from her cave in the forest mountains regions of wherever, Perchta in her carriage travels through the mountainsides into the villages in her little carriage. I'm sure it's like a carriage made out of sticks and stuff. I don't know.
Imagine it's like super slow.
I don't think so. She would probably barely. If she has to get around through all of those areas, like I'm sure she's gonna be barreling through.
That's
yeah.
It'd be funny though if she was like, "Come on, let's go faster."
So I talked about that there were ghosts of children. Who were the other ones? God, I can't even know. My head is so all over the place. But so I talked about the ghosts of children that she had and just like other entities, but her other entities that would follow along her were ghouls, fairies, goblins, and demons.
Oh, okay. The whole gang.
The whole gang would just come out with her and be like, let's party hard. They go at it. In this band of followers, we see such a hunt that it's a bad omen to see. Because a lot of people, they live in the forest or in the woods, and if you see her, oh shit, you're done. Like, it's a bad omen. Like, something bad's gonna happen to you. And just imagine, you're just sitting on your front porch enjoying a cup of beer, a little mug of beer, and you just see this carriage and this ugly woman in it just staring at you, and then you have all of these like fairies, goblins, ghouls, ghosts of dead children, and they're demons screeching at you like,
I'd be like, uh-oh.
It's like, what the fuck do I run inside? Like, what?
Because you already saw her. She saw you.
Yeah, it's like, it's either gonna be a bad omen, but if you're being polite and nice, you should be fine.
Just wave.
Just wave. Like, hi, neighbor.
Just bow down to her.
Pretty much.
I've been good, I promise.
I've been good. With this hunt, it consists of them. So you're wondering, like, what all noises that they do. And I said screeching, screams, but there's also bells and whip cracking.
Oh!
Yeah.
Cool.
So It is absolutely terrifying. Like, you just hear the screams, the screeches, the bells, the whips. Like, you better go in the opposite direction. Like, just turn around and just say, not today. Not today.
I'm going to say Rihanna, because Rihanna likes whips.
What?
Rihanna, the singer?
Yeah.
She sang the song, Chains and Whips Excite Me.
Oh, shit, that's right.
Yeah, so if you're Rihanna, you might like her.
If you like Rihanna, you're gonna like Perchta. I don't know. Good lord. Why is the morning like this? Normally you would think when we drink.
I know, we're drinking coffee and we're like drunk. Not really, but.
Drunk on coffee. What did you put in these?
Extra espresso.
I
did. I said extra espresso then.
Espresso?
He said, heck yeah. Espresso. I didn't say, did I say espresso? Espresso.
Now, if you're in the middle of this, like, if you're just, like, walking down, like, the road, and she comes up on you, you're gonna die.
Yeah.
Because they're not gonna stop and move around you. They're just gonna trample you. Because they don't care.
Yeah.
They're demons, ghouls, ghosts. They're like, whatever. You're just going to join our party anyway.
Yeah.
So your death rate is significantly high if you run into her on the way. This belief of her hunt stems from a Bavarian manuscript of a woman frenzying through a village during the witch trials, claiming to be a servant of hers. This spread through the region like fire. So this, like, actually, because the witch trials are not just in the 1600s.
Yeah.
It stemmed way before in Europe. Mm-hmm. I would like to cover that significantly one day, because I know you did the Salem witch trials.
But like the ones before that too, yeah.
It is savage.
Yeah.
Of how many women and men, children died during just the European witch trials.
Yeah.
But yeah, this woman just went running through a town screaming, just like, oh, like, Perchta, claiming that she's like a witch and a follower of hers. And so that kind of stemmed like the legend of her, and it just started going throughout just like Austria, France, Germany, just everywhere. And so we see that I kind of want to try and find this manuscript on my own time.
Yeah.
To figure out what it is, but I don't know any other language, which is unfortunate. I kind of wish that I went to a school that provided more. Instead of having a Canadian Spanish teacher.
Jesus. My God.
I went through my first year, I had this, a Canadian Spanish teacher. And then my second year, I had 3 Spanish teachers, because the first one, he like broke his neck or something.
What? How do you break your neck? Okay, I'm not gonna ask questions.
And then we had like a substitute for a while. Then we had the second one. She kind of stayed, but then in like the second semester, she was really short, and she spoke, her first language was French, then Spanish, then English. It was kind of hard to understand her, but she liked me, surprisingly. I was like, really? Because I talked to my friends way too much in that class.
Yeah.
I was terrible. I didn't learn anything, and I regret it.
That's fair.
My bad. Okay.
That was me all throughout high school, so.
Now let's give a face to the name. Perchta, finally. As most legends are passed down by word of mouth, the details on Perchta's appearance varies. So it all depends on like where you're coming from and pretty much how they perceive her. Some versions, she looks like a beast with horns, similar to Krampus, with like the hooves, the fur, just the gross look.
Yeah.
To others, she is a woman in a white robe, both young and old.
Oh.
So she could be a pretty beautiful woman if she wants to be in some areas, especially if if you've been good, she's going to look appealing to you, look pleasing and not terrifying. Like, she'll just look like a normal woman in like white robes, be like, hello, I'm going to give you silver in your shoe.
Love that for her.
In some regions, she has 2 faces on each side.
Oh.
This descriptively shows her dual nature. One side is a very beautiful figure, like a beautiful woman.
Yeah.
And then the other side is the beast.
Oh, wow. Mm-hmm. So it's just like split in half down the middle of her face?
Yes.
Oh, wow.
That's exactly what it is. Depending on if you are being granted good fortune or misfortune, that will also decide on how you will see her. From what I found in my research, it's just if you are being bad, the bad side she would look to you at.
Oh, okay.
And then if you're being good, she'll look to you through her good side.
It's kind of like a warning. Like, hey, you're going to die. Mm-hmm. You get this side of my face.
I'm trying to think of like a character that had that. I guess not Two-Face.
I don't know.
I don't know. But
I feel like there is one. I don't know.
Oh my God, the dude from Nightmare Before Christmas.
Oh.
How he switches his face.
Yeah, that's what it is.
When he's mad or happy. Yeah, it's just like that, kind of.
Kinda, yeah. Except it's both at the same time.
Also taking into consideration of different regions, she could also be seen as just a normal, beautiful woman, or she could be a haggard old woman with a long hooked nose, so like a witch.
That's kind of what I was imagining,
Yeah, so it all depends on which area. I'm sure more of the, probably like France area would probably see her more as like with the hooked nose, whereas like Germany likes to go full on like batshit crazy mode, and they're probably going to do the demon.
Right.
So.
Yes. Gotta scare your kids somehow.
Honestly. And interesting, but this is where the Crest children come into play. Mm-hmm. An interesting but crucial part of Perchta's appearance is her one oversized foot.
Oh.
So she has one significantly large foot.
What the hell?
Probably thinking how weird. This is really weird. But
I get it.
So the larger foot would be
the crusher.
The crush.
Yes.
Yeah, to crush the children.
Oh.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
I don't know how she was able to walk, but you know what? She's in a carriage. She has people do the damn thing for her.
Yeah. She ain't got to do the damn thing.
Yeah, she's been around for how long? Like, she's probably tired.
How do you buy shoes like that?
You don't.
Is she barefoot?
Probably.
Yeah.
I don't think you can. Do people wear shoes? Or was it only for the rich? I don't know. Some people saw her foot large and shaped like a goose.
The foot?
Yeah.
Oh,
or they thought it was enlarged, like it was shaped like a goose foot. Or that her foot was so enlarged because of spinning. I haven't mentioned this yet, but her purpose, or not really her purpose, but like a huge contribution to her, or just like something that people are well known to her, is spinning. At first, I had no fucking idea what this meant. I was like, so she's spinning in circles? I was like, what?
I imagine.
But the spinning is like the spin wheel. How they do that, how like Rumpelstiltskin spins gold, like straw into gold. It's that, like, spinning is a huge thing that she does. So, and you have to use your foot for the pedal as I'm like motioning my foot.
It's not just like spinning. Wee!
No, that's what I was just like, what? That just shows how, like, I don't know. But like, I watched Once Upon a Time, and like spinning was a huge thing. I don't know why it didn't come to mind.
Yeah, I didn't think of that at all.
No, because the author didn't put like a spin wheel. He just said spinning, and I was like, what?
Wee! Going around in circles.
I was just thinking, I was like, why is she so interested in spinning? It's a spin wheel. So yeah, this was a really big thing for her. Like, there were only certain days that you can spin in those 12 days because she's very particular. Like, on her festival day, no spinning, just feasting. Or in other terms, I will also mention not starving. What's it called? Fasting.
Oh, okay.
So there's like two different ways. Of course, it depends on the region.
Yeah.
Of course. Now let's get into in the foot form, we see this in Germany, France, and Latin variations. I was like, Latin? Really? I was like, I could not find an exact date of when she was created because everything is word of mouth. So you never really know when this legend formed.
Right.
So I'm just like, okay, let's just say like super like before Christianity. That's my assumption.
Yeah, somewhere around there.
Yeah. Veering away from Perchta and her looks, let's discuss how to please her and to ward her off. Because that's very important.
Yes.
When she is coming. Because that time is coming soon.
If I hear screeching, I'm going to just be like, all right, take me.
So from that last week, I think it's after Christmas Day to January 6th.
Oh.
You got to prepare for Perchta.
All right, here we go. We're going to teach you.
The best way to avoid Perchta coming and unleashing her wrath is to, 1, burn herbs and hang them around the home so she can't give bad luck.
Ah.
You don't want that. You don't want bad luck because then you're going to probably end up dying anyway. Because that bad luck could be brutal.
Yeah.
2, leave food out that is to her liking. So this could be from the feast that you have to leave it outside the home, out by your gate, or on the roof. Which I was just like, you're gonna put fucking food on the roof?
That's a lot of work.
They don't care. What else do they got going on? I mean, we have Twitter now.
They had to climb roofs for fun.
I mean, they had to entertain themselves somehow, and I guess this was the way to do it.
Yeah.
I mean, it gives you something to do at least. Like, you're not just, like, sitting around, like, playing with your chicken all day. Like,
yeah, there wasn't much. So much going on.
Nope. Feasting is a major way to ward her off, believe it or not. So if you're poor, I'm sorry during this time, but you would have to figure out how to freaking make yourself full. Because if legend has it, if you make yourself so full, she wouldn't be able to slice your belly open.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So I'm sure a lot of rich people did that because there's no way that they're going to be good.
Oh, yeah.
The good list.
But you have to do that for 12 days.
I think it's only on her feasting day, which is that last day. I think before that, it's just like...
Day 12.
Yeah. I think there's like small things in between it. Like, it didn't really go... In the book that I read, it didn't go in order from like day 1 to day 12 of like what you have to do. But I know on like the last day, that's when they would have the festival and the feast.
Okay.
So that was like the important day to like really like when she was just going to do most of her bidding.
Yeah.
So eat a lot. Oh yeah, because the sharing of food was on her festival day, January 6th. So... First 6 days of January, beware.
Jeez.
It's just you have
Thanksgiving part 2.
Honestly, and then if you have Krampus going around Christmas and Santa Claus, like Jesus Christ. I don't really know much about Krampus.
Speaking of a roof, I'm pretty sure I just saw a cat on a roof.
I wouldn't be surprised.
Like, just walking on it. I don't know where he went, but...
Oh my God.
I was like, that's not a squirrel.
That's a little terrifying.
It was a black cat, too, so...
Aww.
I hope he's okay. I don't know where he went now.
I don't know. Those apartment complexes are very interesting. There's a dude. I went out at, like, 1 a.m. last night to let Layla out, and this dude just, like, came out for a smoke, and I'm like, shouldn't you be in bed? And then I'm like, wait, shouldn't I be in bed? Like, okay.
Should I be in bed?
Now let's discuss where she came from. The legend of Perchta may be new to you, but she took Europe by storm. So for us Americans, I don't think we would really know her. Because we don't really follow a lot of those, I guess, legends. Depending on, like, where your family came from. Even though, like, a lot of my family came from, like, Germany.
Yeah.
Like, way back. Like, none of that stuck. Like, as soon as you came to the Americas, they're like, bye.
Yeah.
Culture, like, let's try and figure it out.
Pretty much.
Which is really unfortunate, because I would love to know a little bit more about, like, my Norwegian and German heritage. Ow! Riffy. Girl, you clip your claws. Those hurt. She's trying to knead my pant. Sorry. She's not only influential in Germany and Austria, but she's also in France, Switzerland, Slovenia, and I'm sure a few other. I didn't see anything about England, which I was like, that's interesting. Oh shit!
It's white and black and white.
There is a cat on the roof.
Yeah.
Oh,
it's going back and forth.
Oh, he probably hopped up from the balcony onto the roof.
Yeah.
Oh, that poor thing.
I'm like, I hope we can get down.
Oh. Doesn't surprise me. Because people, there's one person, I think they leave their cats just, like, hang out on, like, the top of, like, the balcony part.
Yeah.
And I'm like, dude, your cat can jump at any moment. Anytime Ruby starts, like, crawling underneath to, like, because she wants to join us down there, and I'm like, you better back the fuck up. Like, like, you're not coming down.
Yeah, I hope that she'll find her way down, or he, whatever.
So.
Poor
Poor
kitty.
baby.
Anyway, sorry. It was like one of those moments. Squirrel! It was cat!
No kidding. Now, believe it or not, Perchta also has more names because you have the different cultures. She is also known as Perchta, Lutzel, Zamperin, Percha, Beaba, and Pudelfra. There's a lot more, but I was like, that's a lot.
Yeah.
Already. But she has a lot of names. But it all depends on, like, what language you're speaking.
Right.
A lot of those countries all spoke a different language, so they all have their own terms.
Yeah.
Since she is a pagan deity, this did not suit well with Christianity, believe it or not. Because as soon as Christianity came in, all other pagan religions went out, unfortunately. But it is what it is. The church, to be blunt, did not like this power that she held because she could decide how children would be punished or rewarded. They didn't like the power that she held over it, pretty much, and how impacting she was to people of her region. Like, she had her own fucking festival and feast. People prepped for her. They made food for her. They did everything that they could to prepare for her.
And it makes sense. They're like, I don't want to die.
Exactly. And there was no freaking way that, like, people could just be like, well, you have to stop worshiping her. Like, it's not going to happen, like, right away. There's no freaking way. People are going to do whatever it takes to, like, worship her and just keep trying it, because no matter how much you're trying to change their religion, like, they're still going to have their beliefs.
Yeah.
We've seen this so many times in history.
Oh, yeah.
Unfortunately. Instead of representing her dual nature, the church only limited her legend to only being that of a beast. So that's why most of, like, the book that I read, or if people have heard of her, have only heard about the bad that she does. They don't know more about her dual nature because the church was just like, okay, we can keep her, but we gotta limit her power. Like, you can still make the children terrified of her.
Yeah.
But showing this dual nature, like, what's that really gonna do? Like, that will only encourage them to, like, the bad side. And it's like, no, they're terrified of the bad side.
Right.
They want to please her and show, like, her good nature.
Yep.
But it's unfortunate, but it is what it is. Perchta's involvement with spinning also influenced how spinners would perform their work, too. So, like, during this prime of Perchta, spinners worked hard because they didn't want, because she would punish them by drowning them in boiling water. That was also another way she would discipline them, boil them alive. Woo!
Yeah!
But it also showed them, like, oh, we have to work hard for her. And so a lot of their spin work was, like, influential in that aspect of, like, we gotta please her, so we gotta do a good job and be productive about it. Which I would love to learn how to spin. I think it'd be pretty cool.
That'd be cool.
They still have spinners, don't they? I think they're more
I'd
updated
assume.
ones.
Yeah.
I want an old-fashioned one, like the big one from Sleeping Beauty.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
I want that bitch.
Bitch.
A festival was not only held in her name, but there was also a ritual that people would do during this festival, which is not good in the church's eyes either, because they're like, ritual? What?
Excuse me?
This is pagan nonsense.
You just use the R word.
This was called Perchtenlof.
Okay.
Yeah. People would dress up like Perchta, and they would pretty much go around and celebrate, like, dance around, have their feast. How they would dress up is that they would make, like, these terrifying masks to wear, and then they would wear, like, robes and stuff. This wasn't only as a way to just, like, celebrate her, but also to pretty much just, like, veer her away from them. To, like, confuse her, trick her, or whatever, to be like, hey, I'm you.
Yeah.
I don't know. They just did that, or, like, to trick her followers, pretty much. That's my assumption.
Yeah.
This festivity not only was to please Perchta, but it brought the community together. Like, you had all of the entire villages working together to please her, work together. They would celebrate in, like, the town square.
Yeah.
And that really brought, like, a community together. Like, every now and then we have stuff like the parade or, like, the lighting of the tree, which is, like, in good nature. In this sense, it was to ward off a dual nature deity from punishing you. But you know what it is what it is.
Yeah.
Believe it or not, people today still celebrate Perchenlof.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, they do it in, like, they do, like, the same mass and, like, kind of do whatever. It's not as, like, intense as it was, but it's 3 weeks before Christmas, so I think it's, like, it's the Thursday 3 weeks before Christmas, so I think when I did my notes on Thursday,
yeah,
I think that's what it was. Right. I was just like, no fucking shit. I was like, what? I was like, that's so cool.
Yeah, that was definitely 2 days ago.
Heck yes. The funny thing too is that if this ritual was not occurring, there was also what they called a wild jagged. And this was just men would run around the village just screeching to chase her away in, like, their masks and stuff.
They're like, I'm a man, I'm scary.
So this was having me laugh. I was just like, you have these random ass men just running through town screeching.
God.
But so that's pretty much Perchta. Now I would like to read some stories that were in the book.
Okay.
There's about, like, 4 or 5, but there was 2 that I really wanted to read because it highly influences, or, like, it discusses kind of in depth of what she would do through a story's perspective.
Yeah. Okay.
So
cool.
They're not very long. They're pretty short.
Awesome.
This one's called The Farmhand.
Ooh.
As the 12th night approached and the snow covered the hills, a farmer's wife and her helpers from her household were preparing for the farm for the arrival of Perchta and her followers. When the room and home had been prepared, an inquisitive farmhand decided that he wanted a glimpse of Perchta when she arrived, so he snuck into the great stove in the room which was to be Perchta's. Pressing his eye against the small hole in the door of the stove, he could see into the room without anyone even knowing he was there. When Perchta arrived, assisted by her gathering of unbaptized children, she told one of them to block the small hole in the stove door. As a result, the small boy, the stove managed to see nothing the whole time and had to wait for Perchta to leave before leaving the stove himself. Disappointed at not having seen anything. However, when he crept out of the dark stove, he realized he was now blind, unable to see a thing.
Dun, dun, dun.
As the year passed, the farmhand, unable to see, he came across a hermit who advised the boy that if he went back to the stove again on the 6th of January and did not try to spy on Perchta, his eyesight might be returned. So as the 12th night approached again and the house was prepared for Perchta's visit, the boy crept back into the stove, but turned away from the hole. From there, he heard Perchta command the same child as before to remove the block in the hole. The boy inside the stove did not try to peek through the hole, but waited for Perchta to leave again. When she did leave, he crept back out of the stove and found he was able to see again. Never again did he attempt to spy on Perchta when she returned to the farm.
Oh, shit.
I was just like, oh,
damn.
I was like, man, she's savage. But you know what? Don't look at her.
Mm-mm. You've been warned, you know?
Now, my last one is called The Carriage. This one is really...
The Carriage.
I like this one. This one's actually pretty interesting. So this one, he kind of like, before he goes into like the story, he kind of like talks about it, which is interesting, but whatever. I'm just going to read all of this one because I don't know where it starts.
Yeah. Okay.
The interesting aspect of the story of the kindly cottager is that despite her granting a blessing, the cottager is still fearful of Perchta, so admiration of her powers is also transcended into fear. This notion is also present in this next story of the carriage. Again, we see Perchta grant a blessing, but the central character still acts under the auspice, I can't read, of fear throughout the story. Perchta had traveled across the lands and through the snow as she moved from village to village across the mountains with her train of ghostly children who had died unbaptized. This is really influenced by unbaptized children.
Yeah, geez.
Approaching her next village, the road was uneven, and her carriage, after such a long journey, finally gave way and a wheel came off, stranding Perchta still. Seeing the commotions from a distance, a farmhand ran to help, not knowing until he was close that it was Perchta who had lost a wheel from her carriage. Frau Perchta beckoned the farmhand over and asked him to help repair her broken carriage. The boy was terrified of Perchta, but before long he realized that it was simply the linchpin from the wheel which had broken. So he took a piece of wood and carved a brand new linchpin which he had placed into the wheel and repaired the carriage. Happy to have helped Perchta and not to have disappointed her, he told her his job was done. Perchta told him to keep the wooden shavings which had fallen from the block of wood he carved into the new linchpin. Too afraid to refuse, he collected the shaven wood, confused as to why he was collecting the wood he had discarded. Perchta left and the farmhand was happy to have survived. Hurrying back to his home, he emptied his pockets, planning to get rid of the wood shavings that Perchta had made him take. To his amazement, when he took them from his pocket, each shaving was now made of gold.
Oh, wow.
Yes.
Dang.
Yeah, so Perchta dual nature. I wanted to show a little bit of her both sides, which is not a lot of people would see that for her, but that was Frau Perchta. I loved researching that one. It was so much fun. The book wasn't very long. It was about like maybe 60 pages.
Yeah.
But I was just captivated the entire time. I was like, this is so interesting. So I highly recommend you read Edmund Burkin's book. It's on Amazon. I bought it for like $1.
Oh,
which I was
yeah.
just like, holy shit, that is a good ass deal. So I highly recommend maybe even sharing it to some of the kids, maybe teach them a lesson or two. First stuff.
Teach them a lesson or two.
But
don't do that to your children.
Both sides. Teach them both sides. Be like, hey, if you're good, I'll give you a gold piece and just give them the chocolate with the gold tinfoil on it. But I had a lot of fun doing with that. I hope you all did too. I'd highly recommend looking at some of the other legends. We'll talk more about them next week.
Yes.
I'm excited to hear yours.
Yeah, I'll have a couple next
ones.
week. We've kind of hinted at one of them, so maybe you already picked it up. But I'll be next week, so
yes,
stay tuned.
Yes, thank you for tuning in. We appreciate it.
Yeah.
Where can you find us?
You can find us on Instagram and Facebook at History of the Podcast. You can send us a I always say send us a Gmail. It doesn't make any sense. Send us an email at historyofthepodcast@gmail.com. If you have any requests of things you want us to do for January,
please do it. Share us around.
Yes, share us, not like it. I don't think you can like podcasts, but you can rate podcasts.
Yes,
and
do
give
that.
5 stars.
Help us grow so we can share more of our stories around the world. History is interesting.
Yeah, we're never going to run out of stories.
No, because there's endless amounts of history to be.
We could go on forever and ever and ever and ever.
Yes, and they're very interesting too. You may like crime podcasts more, but I can show you the evil side of history if you want me to. Because there's lots of it.
Yeah.
But we thank you for joining us today.
Yeah, it was a fun time.
Yes, what a beautiful day to be alive and not those children.
Oh, God. So, all right. Well,
we'll catch you next week.
See you guys.
Bye.
Bye.